English 431. How are you? Really? How are you? I'm doing okay. You know, hard to think through how I'm feeling. I feel like I'm locked into a kind of a hamster wheel of eternal recurrence where every week is like the next, especially since I'm kind of laid up with a bum knee right now. So I hope you're doing better than me. I hope that you're doing well overall and that you're managing all of the stress and all of the activity that happens at the end of any semester, but that seems to be so intensified this year with the pandemic and with the inevitable losses that you're feeling in any way, shape, and form across all of the spheres in which you work and play. So what can we offer here in 431? Well, I hope that I'm offering a kind of a respite at the end of this course. There are two things happening in this course between now and the end of the semester. One should be, if you choose to, that you may revise the papers that you would like. If for some reason you thought that maybe you could add more to the papers that you've written, I think that's wonderful. If you got some feedback from me or from your peers that enabled you to think differently about those drafts, and you'd like to take the chance to do that, I think that's wonderful too. Or if you got some feedback from me that encouraged you to think about different kinds of ways to structure, different kinds of details to include, different kinds of material to link to the kinds of arguments that you make, I think that's fine too. I frankly will say, just in a pragmatic sense, that if you got a grade that you're unhappy with, then that's fine too. That's a good, those are all good reasons to revise, although I start with the most meaningful ones, that is the communicative acts of us working with each other and coming up with new ways to look at old problems. So take these remaining days, that is this week and next week, to revise papers that you think you might want to revise. You're under no obligation to do so. It is completely fine if you do not. But if you received an R, that is, I found that maybe attaching a grade to your paper wasn't going to be the most helpful feedback I could provide you at this juncture, because it just doesn't seem like you're doing certain kinds of things that the assignment asked for. If you received one of those R's, it became a 1 in the grade book, which is just my way of saying you turned in a paper, but it wasn't meeting the criteria for the assignment yet. Then I would like you to revise it as quickly as possible. Take a look at my comments, schedule a meeting with me. Let's go from there. But that's definitely the kind of thing I want to make sure that you revise by the end of the semester in some significant way. Otherwise, your choice is yours, whether you revise your papers, how many of your papers you revise. Now, you do have one more paper, though, and that's one of the things that makes this maybe a kind of a decision you have to think through. How much revision can I really have during this final 2 weeks of the semester? And it's this. If I look at the schedule, I say that I want you not just to revise, but to reflect. And I'm going to share my assignment with you because I think it's going to be important that we talk about this a little bit. I mentioned it last week, but I think I should mention it again. So this reflection paper / thing, I can accept it in any form, really. I just want the actions of reflecting to happen, is an interesting kind of purpose paper that allows me to see certain kinds of things out of you that you feel are important. I don't want you to talk about anything that you think is unimportant. What I really want you to dial in on specifically are what you feel you have learned in this course that might bear on your future. Now, just the way that I structured that sentence with the first part in past tense and the second part in the future participle is the dual nature of this assignment. First, I'm asking you to sum up, to synthesize, to collate in different kinds of ways what you feel you've learned in this course. It can start in any number of different ways, but what I'd encourage you to do is to look back at specific events or moments from your internship, your experience of being tutored in the paper that you wrote about it, the writing group paper that you then wrote just a little bit ago, the Zoom discussions we may have had, or readings that seemed particularly memorable or engaging. What are the things that you think you will take with you, that stick with you after all this time? This is week 14. It has lasted 14 weeks in your mind, or however long it's been. The things that stand out to you, the new insights about writing, about reading, about learning to write, about learning in general, that you're going to bear forward in this course. And this brings me to the second part of this. What I'm hoping you can do is to pick up and extend some of those questions, those curiosities, those insights that you've developed by doing just a little more digging. Now, this does not mean writing a research paper, but it does mean, okay, so now I've got these ideas and I want to see what else is out there. It does mean, okay, I've got these questions and I think I can just do a little bit of digging and figure out what other people think. Or it says, like, you know, one of the things that we didn't talk about in the course is this, so I want to learn a little bit about this right now. So the first half of this kind of reflection thing, whether it's in a paper or a video or other kinds of things, I can imagine you saying, here's what I got out of the course. And in as much detail as possible, sort of mustering some paragraphs that walk me through what stood out to you and why. The second part might be a turn to those kinds of things that you wish the course had covered, or turn to those kinds of questions that remain for you. Think about this as promises that you make on the future. That is, ways of approaching these questions that you will continue to work with over the summer into next year, if you graduate into this next chapter of your life. So in essence, then, I hope that I've given you some examples of ways in which people write this reflection, not to the extent that I am talking about it now, but how it was done last semester. But I also hope that I've given you some models for how you might talk in this reflection, both about what you have learned up until this point and what you might continue to be learning right now or into the future. That's all this reflection is. And frankly, what it comes down to is that this is the respite that I promised at the beginning of this video. Week 14 and week 15 are only that you would be doing revising that you want to do in this course on papers that you've written that you want for one reason or another to revise, and the reflection that you'll be doing as part of this kind of new drafty thing. I hope that what you do by Wednesday, let's just say of finals week, that you would turn it into me in some capacity. I can accept it as a Microsoft Word document, that's fine. But a Google Doc is fine because that's what we've been using the entire semester. And I hope that you will think about saving a little bit of time for the reflecting mind work that you may need to do in order to come up with what you'd like to say in this reflective draft. I think that would be just totally cool. I think that would be really neat to talk to you all at the end of the semester about what you're ending the semester with, how you're doing overall, and what you might be doing this summer and next year. So I wish you all well. I think we're making great progress in this course, and the boiled down way in which this course has operated, I think, has been doable by everybody. And I think that that's just great. Contact me if you need anything at all, if you need some help with revising one or more papers, or if you need some help with this reflection that I've asked you to do. But otherwise, I hope you are doing well, that you're feeling good, that you have no sicknesses or illnesses to report, and that when you get a vaccine, that you take a little time off to let the vaccine work its way through your system. I got vaccinated a while ago, and I'm very happy about it. Now my kids need to be vaccinated, and that's a thing. So in any case, I hope everybody is well. And please be in touch. Take care.